Hi everyone. So just a really quick video today to talk about what to do when someone discloses to you a sexual assault or an instance of abuse or some other traumatic event. So I do a lot of counseling in my life. It's my job. It's my volunteer work. It's just something that I've always done. I've been very honored to have always been privy to the inner workings of women's lives. So women have always really disclosed to me for whatever reason. And I think part of it is because I decided a long time ago to not be afraid of the silence. And I'm making this video today because this was reinforced to me, and I'll tell you how it came up. So I am the host of a TV show, a cable TV show called Her Stories, where I interview women from my community to talk about the amazing things that are happening in their world. And there was a scenario where a woman had a really amazing small business that she had started herself, but she was also a survivor or victim of repeated childhood abuse. So I did a little bit of a lead up with her during the interview. So we do live to tape. So it's not like it's live to air. It's not like this was some big crisis. We could have started over if we had had to. But I was proud of myself because when I asked her, so tell me a little bit about your childhood. And we had met beforehand. This was all agreed upon. She was prepared to discuss this. When I asked her that, she had this look in her eyes, and not just her eyes, but her entire face just broadcasted to me like terror. And I understand why, right? Because she had been raised in this environment of we don't talk about this. There's shame, there's fear, there's backlash, all of that. So I reacted to the look on her face and acted as a counselor and not as an interviewer or a TV host, which, okay, we can debate about which one was appropriate. So I said, okay, why don't we talk about your business? And I switched gears. And when I was having, because I'm a beginner at this. I have no experience interviewing people. I have no experience with TV, anything like that. I just happen to have a TV show. So when I took a workshop on this with the woman who is, I guess, one of the key interviewers and reporters and journalists for Kojiko Muskoka, Your TV Muskoka, I told her this story, and I was pretty pleased with myself. I was like, I subverted this from being a disaster, and my ability to read cues made it like, oh, I'm so glary. Sorry. Ability to read cues made it so that she didn't feel pressured in all of this. And the woman who was doing the workshop was very supportive, but she sort of said, don't be afraid of silence. Don't be afraid to sit there with that look on someone's face. And you don't have to rescue people from their own stories. You don't have to switch the subject just because they look uncomfortable. Sometimes they're just thinking about what they want to say. Sometimes there is that element of, oh my gosh, someone just asked me something. Am I going to get in trouble? So you can sit there with them for as long as you need to. I mean, like, they talk about dead air, so you don't want a certain amount of dead air when you're doing an interview, but it would have been, I wish now, no, I know for next time that I will sit there with the silence for a bit longer, and then I could have done a prompt like, I understand this is a hard subject. Do you feel comfortable talking about this? Because even though I knew she was because of our pre-interview, the audience didn't know that, so it may have looked pretty abrupt, I guess, asking something like that. So something so intimate. So this is relevant to so much of the work that we do as radical feminists as well, because part of the awakening of radical feminism is realizing just how common abuse is in women's lives. It's so common. We talk about numbers. We talk about 1 in 3 women have been sexually assaulted, or sexually harassed, and 1 in 6 women have been sexually abused. But the numbers, they get smaller and smaller every time. Um, I I question that there is any woman who hasn't experienced the oppression of women. I don't think it's possible. I think that that's how our system is set up, that it's women as a class experience this. So I want us to get really good at hearing women's disclosures, at listening to women's stories, and at being present and actively listening, not just not every opportunity is a radical feminist consciousness raising opportunity, right? Not every time when we hear a disclosure do we say, well, did you know the statistics about this? We can know the numbers, and sometimes that really helps. Like I've been able to say many times, just last night actually, um, I don't know if you know how common what you've gone through is. I'm not diminishing it in any way, but it is extraordinarily common with abusers. And that makes women feel like they're not alone. So you have to make sure that there's that balance. Like you're not just throwing numbers at them and making them feel like they're one of the numbers, but you're also not allowing them to go on feeling like this has never happened to anyone before, that no one could ever understand what they've been through. So the biggest skill with active listening is the silence. It's literally, you do nothing. You don't interject. You don't try to make them comfortable by offering platitudes like everything's gonna be okay. We're in this with you. Like some platitudes work, but I would just, like, for example, you're not alone, or I believe you. Um, I hear you. I wouldn't even say those are platitudes. Anyway, so silence is truly a gift. And if someone is sitting there with you and they seem unsure of what direction to go in next or what to do, just sit there with them and make, your active listening sounds. um, Whatever feels genuine to you, whatever is genuine, because we don't always know which direction to go in, and disclosing incidences of sexual assault or abuse is scary, but people get better at it. And if you're a really good first exposure to someone who tells their story to you, like if you can be the person who makes that experience of disclosure feel safe and feel like it was the right thing to do for that person, then they're going to share their story more and more. And we need women sharing their stories more and more. So I think that's just my little bit of advice for today. I'm working hard to sort of talk about communication skills and things like that, because I think it's an art form. I think it's beautiful. I think communication is wonderful, but I think we need some tips on how to do it appropriately or do it well. And it's a skill just like any other. You learn it, you practice it. So I will say to you, the next time someone tells you any kind of story, just practice silence, practice active listening and nonverbal communication, engagement, eye contact, sounds like, oh wow, things like that. And then, as always, I would just say, remember to thank them at the end of it. If it's a story about their day, maybe you don't need to thank them. But if it's a disclosure, just say, I just want you to know that I think it's an honor that you disclosed to me, and I appreciate that you feel comfortable with me to do that. So, cool. If you want to subscribe, do so. You will get heads up on all of my super amazing videos that I put out on absolutely no schedule whatsoever. And you can follow me on Twitter, Woman Walks Away, and Instagram, Woman Walking Away. and just enjoy your day. Thanks.